Hello. This track is highly experimental, at least for me. I wanted to make something resembling psytrance, and I came up with this. There are some sounds in this that are interesting, I think. So I'm going to go through some of the tracks here. I don't think I'm going to go through everyone. But first we can have a quick listen so you know what to expect. And I'm going to jump around a little bit in this track, so let's start. Okay, there you go. So I think there's one sound in this track that kind of sounds psytrance-ish, and it's this one. It's the first track. Okay, so this sound is from Serum, a really nice synth made by Steve Duda. It's a patch that I have added some effects to. So without the effects, it sounds like this. It's very psytrance-ish sounding, I think. So what I did was I EQ'd the low end here, and then I identified some annoying frequencies here. So I took those out. Then we have a delay, and then we have a bandpass spinner. So, and then we have to cut some more after that on this EQ in the 1K area. And then of course a compressor on that just to take off the peaks and glue it together. And on the track 2 I have a similar sounding sound. And this one is made by Diva. It's also a patch. And to give it some movement, the cutoff is automated. Like so. You can see it there. Okay. Then we have a simple melody. It's this one. It's actually two melodies. It's the one called 3 Serum X64 here, and it's the one called Melody. This track isn't really organized that good, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, that happens. So for synths, I like Serum, of course, and I also use Serum on this one. I'm using mostly patches in this track, ready-made patches. Sometimes I do some adjustments to them, so I load up a patch and then I maybe I just adjust the attack or release or something. And for the bass, I usually have 2, 3, or 4 tracks. I do it like I have a sub bass line taking care of the lower frequencies. It's this one. Let's see. I'm just going to do a loop here. So, okay, this is the sub. And this bus, and this is the main bus line, bass line. How do you say it? Bass line? I'm not English. And then I have an arpeggio going here, taking care of the high frequencies. As you can see here, I have cut the low end on this one to give room for the sub bass and the kick. It's important to cut the lower frequencies, especially on sounds that doesn't really need the lower frequencies, like lead sounds, melody sounds, stuff like that. The way I use it, I usually just take a sound like this, or we can take the melody, for example this one, and I cut it, so I almost hear no difference. Okay, if I go there, you maybe hear something. This is that clears up the low end, so you can get the kick and the bass going there. So if you don't know how to do it, you just take an EQ and cut it to 200 Hertz on everything except kick and bass, and just go from there, and you're good to go. What else? Well, it's really unorganized. I'm sorry about that. I didn't know that before I started recording this. I have, let's see, we can drag the melodies together, because I have several going. It's all about layering. Let's see. Giving me more resolutions. Okay, so here we have one melody. And we have another one. And we have another one. And another one. So each melody doesn't really sound that exciting, but when you layer it up, it gets better. But then again, if you layer too much, you may get too much. And that is also why you use EQ here to cut off frequencies. I use it on everything, just to give it some more room in the mix. Because if you add too much, it gets too crowded. And I also use compressors, like this one, the glue compressor, to take off the high end, or just the peaks of the sound. I usually don't do any hard compression. I just use a little compression on each track. That's often enough. And then I actually mostly use the default settings here. I only adjust the threshold, so you can see a little. Let's see here. So we can see a little gain reduction going here. Or maybe it's a lot, I don't know. Yeah. You don't really hear it, but it adds up in the end. And for the melody here, I have automated the cutoff frequency, and I have also automated the reverb dry wetness on this one. You can hear it here. See there. As you can hear, the melody is pretty boring actually, but when you listen to when you hear the automation, it gets less boring. Or your brain thinks that, at least. And I like to add just effects, just strange effects like this one. This is just a colleague of mine. He is screaming. I don't know why. It was like a few years ago. We was recording stuff with our iPhones, and he was screaming. And then, okay, he got a place in this track. So I can call it original. A mastering or a sound, or how the things sound together. It's for me that is done here in the mixer. What I like to do with my tracks is to get the final mix sounding as good as possible before you do anything on the master chain here. So that means that every single track has to sound great. and balanced. And that's not easy. I don't think it's easy. It's like you can sit for like 5 hours adjusting one sound. But don't do that, that's not smart. Because if you get the mix correct from the start, or as good as possible from the start, you don't have to like buy a million plugins and throw it on your master chain. It won't sound any better anyway. So that's why I only have a saturator here. It's just to increase the high end a little bit. And this compression, actually it doesn't do anything because the overall volume of this track is too low, so I don't know why I have it there. It doesn't do anything. Yeah, well, and then I use the limiter in Ableton Live. I think it's okay. It's not the best limiter, but if you can get your mix sounding great, which you should do, you don't have to rely so much on this. So as usual, you can listen to this track on SoundCloud if you want. The link will be in the video description down below on this YouTube thing. And I think that's all for today. So if you want more videos, subscribe. Thank you. Bye bye.